Well, after winning their first trophy in 70 years, Newcastle United couldn't wait to get home. Leicester City can't wait to get out of theirs. In the aftermath of the grandest party Newcastle had seen in 7 decades, the Toon hangover was remedied by nudging past Brentford at St James's Park. Now they have another quest, the return of Champions League football to their cathedral on the hill. And they'll be favourites to further that here at the once raucous, now revolting King Power Stadium, where the mood matches Leicester's form. The Foxes have lost 7 straight games at home in the Premier League without scoring a goal. There's a disconnect between fans and the club, and reports of fallouts between the manager and his players, who don't want to be cooped up in their plush training ground. So, what next? Staying up has been a hopeless task for a while now. All that Ruud van Nistelrooy can do is show that Leicester will go down fighting, and that he's possibly got the ability to bring them back. Danny Murphy has scrapped his way out of trouble more than once before. Leicester can't survive, but can they take a scalp tonight?
I've only scrapped my way out of trouble once, not more than once, just to correct you on that one.
I bet you have scrapped yourself out of trouble more than once.
From a footballing perspective.
It depends how you take it.
I only had one bad season where I was fighting relegation. Can Leicester do it? No chance. But can they go down with a bit of dignity? Of course, if they put some results together, get a couple of wins in front of their fans, show some fight, it lets everybody at least give them hope for next season. But tonight's going to be a big ask for them. This Newcastle side are good, powerful, knowledgeable.
Well, tomorrow and Wednesday it's every inch of the Champions League, and we've covered it all. Your football fix when you need it on TalkSport, with the EFL action interspersed, and Europa League commentary later on in the week as well. Next Saturday, Manchester City will continue their attempts to cling on to a Champions League place live on TalkSport. But tonight, Newcastle can go 4th in the Premier League and still have a game in hand over Chelsea and Manchester City if they win here by 8 goals. Leicester in blue from head to toe, shooting from right to left. Newcastle all in white with green sleeves and a couple of green slashes down the side of the shorts, attacking their goal away to our right. Hermansen's the Leicester goalkeeper, Fast, Cody and Thomas the back 3, Justin and Christensen the wing backs, Ndidi and Samari in the centre, Daka, Vardy and El Khanous up front. For Newcastle United, Nick Pope the goalkeeper, Trippier, Cher, Byrne and Livramento, Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali alongside Joel Linton in that powerful midfield. It's Murphy, Isaac and Barnes up top. Before we start, the Premier League campaign of no room for racism is adhered to by the taking of the knee, and the referee Rob Jones gets us off and underway. Live on Monday night game night, under the lights at this one-tiered bowl, with Jamie Vardy immediately on the attack after a long ball down the right-hand side, flicked on from the right by Samari into the path of Jamie Vardy, who turned and cracked the ball goalwards, and it was turned round the post by Hermansen.
Good start from Leicester, nice and direct, playing in the opposition half, exactly what you want early in the game. It was one of the Vardy runs from old, inside the full-back and centre-half, down that channel. Couldn't quite wrap his foot round it.
First corner of the game has gone to Leicester City, taken over on the far side in front of the Newcastle travelling support, and it'll be taken by Bilal El Khanous, who right-footed swings the ball towards the penalty spot, headed away by Dan Byrne, who flicks it far outside the penalty area, and Samari keeps it moving and sends it back wide towards the left. Here's Victor Christensen, who shuffles it to halfway, and from the centre circle, dragged back by Thomas, and then he sends it out wide towards the left-hand side. Samari helps it on towards Christensen. He lifts it towards the edge of the penalty area. Livramento will allow that to go, and it goes out for a goal kick. If Leicester are going to score against anyone, it probably will be Newcastle United, because despite their great results, only the bottom 3 teams have conceded more goals since the second week in January. It certainly is a desperate situation that Leicester have fallen into, thrashed by Newcastle 4-0 just before Christmas. You can't rule out a similar result here. Often they lack self-belief, they lack a punch capable of landing a blow, let alone a knockout. And it has been a very long time since a Premier League goal was scored by Leicester on this football pitch, December the 8th. Here on the left-hand side, Harvey Barnes, the former Leicester player, onto Livramento, down the left-hand side, low ball to the far post, Murphy's there, 1-0, 1 minute and 54 seconds, and Newcastle have pierced the porous net of Leicester City. Leicester may well have attacked with the first kick of the match, but the first blow is landed by Newcastle, who lead by a goal to nil inside 2 minutes. And the hostile reaction from the Leicester fans is audible for everyone to hear.
Brilliant. He actually loses the ball in the middle of the park. Guimaraes wins it back. Little pass into Jolin, and then they're out left hand side. Harvey Barnes one-on-one with Justin. Outside run from Livramento, and can he pick the final pass? 2v1, Livramento slides it across, and Murphy's where the right winger should be when the ball's on the left. He's at the back post waiting to tap it in. I'm not sure who hasn't gone with Livramento though, it's just basics.
Danny, that ball from Livramento though goes through the 6-yard box, past 3 Leicester players, past the goalkeeper as well, and Murphy's at the far post just waiting for it to tap it home.
He shouldn't, but the problem is as soon as you get him behind somebody's back line, very hard for the back players to be on the goal line. There's going to be a gap. The problem is that somebody should have been back in with Livramento.
Well, no one expected Leicester to win this game, but maybe they expected them to try and put up a bit of a fight. It took less than 2 minutes. Ruud van Nistelrooy, the cameras panned immediately to him, and he's shaking his head, can't quite believe what he has seen. And he is absolutely furious, and he's not the only one inside this stadium. Ball cleared upfield by Hermansen, away by Pope, lands on the head of Wout Faes, forward by Samare. Byrne engages with Daka, it comes through to Bruno Guimaraes, and you can understand why Ruud van Nistelrooy is coming under increasing pressure. 14 defeats in the last 15 league matches. That is a record that usually gets managers fired. Conceding goals for fun, and yet there's not many home games left to play. And conceding after 2 minutes was not in the plan today. They're coming forward here with El Kanous. Lovely little inside ball to Ndidi across from Thomas, who's got up to supplement the attack. It's cleared away, and it's picked up by Samare 10 yards short of the penalty area. If Newcastle don't score tonight, they will match the longest run of successive defeats without scoring, of course assuming
Leicester, you mean?
Leicester, sorry.
Leicester don't score, yeah.
That's assuming that they lose tonight, which I think is safe to assume. English top division history set by Sunderland in 76-77 and Palace in 2017. But at home it will be a new Football League record if they were to lose an 8th game without scoring here. And Ruud van Nistelrooy is just standing on the edge of the technical area. He's just gone and sat back down again now, just shaking his head. He can't quite believe what he's seen. Newcastle started the game at Brentford with a good tempo last week, testing the Bees' defence from the off, and they've already done that here. The ball's been played down the Leicester left, Christensen chasing it. Pope comes out into the right full-back area and scoops it out of play. Christensen wanted to take a quick throw, no one else was alert to the danger, and now they're going to go for a long throw from the hands of Luke Thomas, who's going to try and toss this ball into the penalty area away to our left-hand side. 5 minutes 20 seconds gone, Leicester 0, Newcastle 1.
They do tend to start games well, Newcastle. I think of the games we've done. We was at Old Trafford when they started really well and got the game wrapped up. Arsenal, they started it well, didn't they? I think it was at the Cup League game, Cup game, I can't remember. The
Carabao Cup game started really well.
You know, they just got that tempo early in their game and really go after teams and attack with energy and numbers.
Well, I did actually put on my sheet of paper this morning when I was writing stuff down for this, a similar start to that they got against Brentford, and we might see the job done with minimal fuss. I don't think I was anticipating a goal inside 2 minutes. I mean, it's an absolutely horrendous start for Leicester City. All cleared by Scher, up towards Murphy. Luke Thomas was right over the back of him, but was allowed to get the header away. Trippier brings it down, Tonali gets on the ball, he's just right of the centre circle, plays it forward to Isak, who's just peeled off into the right channel. He's got support as well, and Barnes is over on the far side. He collects it now, runs up to Justin, cuts infield, little back heel looking for Livramento. He just didn't catch hold of that back heel. In fact, it was more of a sort of rolling of the studs over the ball, looking for the run of the England fullback. It was cut out by Justin and eventually squeezed away on the far side by Patson Daka.
What was noticeable then was when Isak got the ball into his feet, how Cody dropped off him so quickly instead of engaging, probably scared of his pace. But you've still got to be tighter than that. You can't let him turn and start running that. You've got to be really tight.
And Eddie Howe with a big stadium jacket on. It is colder than many anticipated tonight. Some idiots didn't bring a proper jacket with them.
Do you know what? I'm surprised that you missed the Matterface.
Distracted today. Ndidi forward towards El Khanous, running through the centre circle, played it out to the left hand side. Christensen takes it down. He's on the left edge of the penalty area, tries to cut infield, plays it to El Khanous once again. Newcastle backed up behind the ball. There's 9 men behind the ball. The only one who is on the other end of the pitch is Isak, but still Leicester come forward with El Khanous into Samare. Back to El Khanous again, left side of the Newcastle half. Thomas guides it into Cody to Samare, and then all the way back to halfway and Wout Faes. Matches like this, it's usually pretty predictable as far as the result is concerned. Leicester City don't do well against teams higher than them in the table. Here is Ndidi into the box though. Daka trying to squeeze it through the 6-yard box. There was a foul there by him.
It's actually a good move from Leicester. Nice and patient, and you had the big switch of play and an overload with Justin at the back.
Dan Burn was the one who was on the wrong end of that swinging foot from Patson Daka, who missed the ball completely and just kicked Dan Burn.
Yeah, it was accidental, wasn't it? He's a tough lad, Big Dan, that won't bother him.
Leicester have lost all 11 games this season in the Premier League against teams 7th or higher. Newcastle have won all 6 against the teams currently 17th or lower.
See, it looks like Leicester are playing a back 4, especially when they set up defensively when Pope's got the ball, which means Christian and Daka are playing wide in a 4-4-2, which leaves them really open if they do continue that way.
Here on the left-hand side, Barnes has picked it up. He's running it fast. Justin's out of position. He tries to skip past Faes, who actually wins the challenge and then takes the ball into the right full-back position, then loses the ball, and Barnes goes down looking for a free kick. Referee doesn't give one, then does give one against Joel Linton for a tussle with Justin in the right full-back area, and it's cleared away.
Why do refs do that sometimes? Just blow when someone falls over. There's a couple of skirmishes and go, okay, no foul, another no foul, and another one falls over, so, I better give one because there's been 2 people fall over. He doesn't touch Justin hardly there, Joel Linton.
Interesting in your point about the back 3, back 4 thing. When they did lose the ball there, Christensen immediately scurried back into sort of like a defensive position, so it did almost go back into a 5, didn't it? There's a bit of a fluid formation from Ruud van Nistelrooy, maybe trying to do something a little bit different tonight.
Which is fine, but you can overcomplicate things. Normally you should be able to see what they're trying to do, and at the minute, if we're not getting it straight away, I'm not sure the players are.
Here is Cody, just moving up towards the centre circle, into the path of Bardi, who is dispossessed, and then Cher has chipped him from just inside his own half. He's in the crossbar, comes back out to Murphy to finish it. He does. It's 2-0. It's spectacular from Fabian Cher from distance, sending it long towards the goal. He hit the crossbar from 50 yards, beating Hermansen all ends up. It came off the bar and into Murphy, who slammed it home. It's spectacular from Newcastle. It's another setback for Leicester. 10 minutes gone. It's Leicester 0, Newcastle United 2.
Well, what a spot this is from Cher. He jumps in on Vardy. He's inside his own half. He sees the keeper of his line. The obvious pass is Murphy in for a one-on-one. Strikes the bar, comes out. Murphy's first. Easy finish for him. But why are the Leicester defenders, when that ball's in the air from Cher, I mean, it's a brilliant effort, but when it comes out, there's not a Leicester player within 20 yards of Murphy who anticipates the ball hitting the bar. Basic stuff, you've got to follow back.
I have to say, that was sensational from Fabian Cher. He can hit them, by the way, but I've never seen him do that. I mean, he's inside his own half where he spots Hermansen off his line and he launches it towards goal. I thought it was going in. It smacked the bar, came back out. Murphy was there. Bosh, 2-0.
But Cody and Thomas are watching it like Murphy. So you've still got to anticipate, you know.
They didn't, and that's why Leicester are 2-0 down in the game. And it was an uphill battle for Leicester City before the game started. It's the north face of the Eiger now. Ball cleared away by Hermansen to the near side, looking for Christensen. He miscontrols it. It goes out of play.
I'll tell you one thing you do see in moments like this, especially if you're a prospective new manager of Leicester. I mean, not that I'm saying there's one here or they know there's going to be yet, or if there is going to be one, but you can tell a lot from players, especially if it goes 3 or 4, the fight, the attitude, the desire they've got within them to keep doing the job, keep doing the things right.
You'll know who the characters that you want to keep are pretty quickly, won't you?
Yeah.
And they've given the ball away again inside their own half. Tonali now to Isaac, edge of the penalty area. Right-footed shot into the side netting. Hermansen went diving to his left. He was interested. And the Leicester supporters already booing, knowing that there is a real chance here that they could get tonked.
So I'm not sure why you'd have Christensen playing more or less left wing when you've got the ball, because he's not particularly brilliant going forward. He's more of a defensive fullback. And you've got Luke Thomas there at left back. If you're going to play a 5, be hard to beat, but if you're playing 2 left backs and one of them is going to be your left winger, I'm not sure the logic on that when you've got Mabadidi on the bench.
We're playing 2 left backs, 5 defenders in total, 2 holding midfield players. We've played 13 minutes. It's 2-0 to Newcastle. Dan Burn away, out towards the far side. Livramento takes it on, goes past the challenge of Ndidi. Ndidi gets a yellow card, as he usually does.
Indeed he did.
I'm pleased it was you did that.
Couldn't resist. I know it's predictable, but
it's alright, it's fine.
Yeah.
Leicester 0, Newcastle 2. TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Leicester versus Newcastle, live right now. Search now Sports, and it's 2-0 to Newcastle United. And the worst thing about this is it was eminently predictable.
Yes, I agree, but not to be 2-0 down after 14 minutes and give the ball away so often like they have. I mean, they're wide open.
Ball sent long by Trippier into the box. It's an easy catch for Hermansen. He then rifles it forward, looking for the run of El Khanous over the halfway line, and Leicester turn defence into attack pretty quickly, but he just runs the ball out of play, and there's going to be a throw-in to Newcastle United, who can, as I mentioned, go up into 4th position if they win 8-0 tonight, which I think when I said it earlier on, everyone looked at me as if I was a lunatic. However, maybe people were thinking there's more possible than it was before then. He needs 6 more and they will go up to 5th if it stays like this.
Well, every time they attack they look like they can score. There's wide open spaces.
Here is Dan Burn just in front of the 18-yard box. It's infield to Fabian Schär. Might have a go from here, you never know. Out to Trippier, right full-back position. Looks up, plays it into space looking for Bruno Guimaraes. Interception comes from Soumare. He turns it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Newcastle sort of half press. Isaac just cutting off the passing lane to Cody, so he has to go long, and he does that up towards the right hand side. Picked up by Joe Linton now. Halfway line is Livramento, charges forward away from Ndidi, who's been booked, looking for Barnes. Fast steps out, beats Barnes to the ball, sends it to Daka, and the Leicester City forward gives the ball away so cheaply. It's frightening, and again you've heard
it was well read, to be fair, and he did only have one other option.
Did he get enough behind it?
No, it wasn't great, but what I'm saying is it was beautifully read by Tonali, but because he didn't have any options ahead of him other than Vardy, he had to come sideways or back, and that's why Tonali read it. But Tonali's very good at that. He's so bright. Tonali,
who has been a real asset in that 3-man midfield, especially since he's dropped into the sort of middle of those 3. The powerful figure of Joe Linton adds so much physicality. Bruno Guimaraes loves to get on the ball, he loves to play, and he's doing that now, finding Joe Linton. into Tonali again. Those three connect really well. Isak down the right side onto Tonali, who continues his run. Back in front it goes to Isak. Lovely feet, tries to get away from Fass, does just enough to steer it away, and he gets it up to Jamie Vardy. And now Leicester trying to get out and get up towards the halfway line. They have to turn it back because Newcastle have got back into shape really well. And now it's back on the edge of the 18-yard box with Cody Kanoose, and then back to goalkeeper Hermansen. 2-0 to Newcastle United live on TalkSport on a chilly Monday night at the King Power Stadium in Leicester. Leicester, who started the day 15 points from safety with 8 Premier Leagues remaining. No team has survived from that position in Premier League history. West Ham stayed up in 2006-2007, went 8 points adrift with 8 games remaining. But 15 points at this stage of the season, when you can't score a goal, got no chance. 18 minutes. The statistics are quite startling, really. The expected goals for Newcastle already 1.64. They've only had 38% of possession.
Who needs possession?
Who needs possession? Newcastle are a very well coached team, a very well oiled machine, and they sense an opportunity, I think, now this season, having won the Carabao Cup and got that from around their neck, that sort of millstone from around their neck that they've been carrying for so many years, to be able to put a pot on the shelf and celebrate it as they did the other week has really sort of unleashed something amongst the group. And now they want Champions League football. They want more. Here's Barnes down the left. Livramento towards the left edge of the Leicester penalty area. Back into Barnes once more. Barnes with a cross into the box. Scoops into the air. Away by El Kanouse. It comes back to Cher, and immediately the Newcastle fans say shoot, because they want him to try for another spectacular effort from range. Eventually it's controlled by Murphy. Sent back to Cher. From deep inside his own half, he plays the ball square. Forward by Byrne to halfway. Coming infield was Barnes, but he overhit that. He just gave that to Ndidi, and then Vardy is able to feed El Kanouse. He's then challenged by a retreating Bruno Guimaraes, and Newcastle have it back with relative ease.
Just sneaked up on him, didn't he, and won it back. Guimaraes, they're good at that, the Newcastle midfield three. They're always like fighting at you and winning tackles and getting in good positions to win the ball back.
Patson Daka chasing a long ball forward. Livramento unconventionally puts it back towards Nick Pope, and he gobbles it up, bowls it back out. Newcastle going on the attack again. 2-0 they lead.
It's been the source of their attacks, Livramento, even this early, because Patson Daka's obviously a striker who doesn't really want to be tracking him, and then you've got Justin, who's occupied by Harvey Barnes, so he's got all the space in the world if they keep getting it out to Livramento.
How impressive has his performances been at left back, bearing in mind he spent most of the season at right back, and naturally is a right-sided player, Livramento.
The biggest thing for me is his willingness to try and make it happen, do it well. I never watch him and ever think he's annoyed he's out there. He'll just try and do the job the best he can, and he goes on the outside as well. His left foot ain't as good as his right, we all know that, but I think he's been absolutely terrific. He's a wonderful athlete. He tries to play the game really well, like good footballer, tries to do the right things. Yes, on occasion, the odd mistake here and there, like any fullback, but I think he's got a huge future, and the fact that he can do both is one of the reasons I think he's probably in the England squad.
Trippier, who's done both in his time as well. Tonali fights for the ball, wins it. It's played back by Murphy through the legs of Christensen. Didn't quite escape through there, and then Vardy tries to return it to Christensen, and it goes back towards the goalkeeper Nick Pope. It's all very tame from Leicester, really. Every time they get it, it's almost just a couple of passes before they've given the ball back to Newcastle.
There's no belief when they're on the ball. They're all nearly. It's a lot of nearly passes and nearly moments. Lack of belief.
Away by Thomas, who's recently come back into the team under Ruud van Nistelrooy, who had quite a settled group really for most of his time in charge, but he's lost Vestergaard over the last couple of months because of the falling out, and Harry Winks obviously is not in the matchday squad again today. Here is Isak running off the back of Thomas, feeds it to Joel Linton. He sweeps it wide to the left. He was engaged by Ndidi. That just slightly meant that it went behind Barnes. Barnes has now taken on Ndidi, giving it back to Joel Linton, who's being chased out of the box by Fass. But Newcastle can take their time. There's no need for them to force it. Tonali sends a crossfield ball aimed towards Trippier, who just breached into the box It's headed away. One back by Joel Linton, really strongly, edge of the penalty area. Shoveled out by Bruno Guimaraes to Harvey Barnes. Takes a deflection off Cody and goes behind. He just scooped in front of Barnes as he hit it. And it's out for a corner kick. And another let off there. And that was all started because Joel Linton fancied it more on the edge of the penalty area than Samare did.
Yeah, oh God, it was a good effort actually from Harvey Barnes. It ended up hitting Conor Cody in the face, or was it the left shoulder? Point being was, you're right, it was a turnover again. High up the pitch.
Here's the corner and Barnes is going to take it. And backloading the far post. Dan Burn being watched here by the diminutive James Justin. I mean, that was the worst corner I've seen all season from Harvey Barnes. He's passed it to Patson Daka.
He must have had a moment where he thought he was playing back at Leicester.
Here's Barnes again. They've won it back, obviously they have, inside opposition territory. Barnes has gone down under pressure from El Canoes, thinks he should have a foul. Referee says no. Joel Linton's gone to engage over on the far touchline, but then again they've won it back through Livramento. Now Barnes again, edge of the area, onto Livramento, tries to get central, still got hold of it despite a couple of challenges. It bounces off Christensen, comes back out to Murphy once again. And now it's with Livramento once more. Tonali, good crossfield pass, looking for Barnes, sees it up for Isaac. Isaac tries to turn edge of the box, feeds Joel Linton. It was lovely, but he couldn't quite squeeze it back to Isaac. And now Daka trying to run it clear. He picks it up, carries it over halfway, bursts up towards the right-hand side, then has to stop and go backwards. And that engenders more boos and groans and jeers from an irate group of supporters who are fed up. And their team haven't scored a goal in such a long time. 670 minutes of Premier League football before tonight. 11 hours, 10 minutes. You could fly to LA during that time. The way things are going at the moment, Leicester City would probably miss that flight. Here is Bruno Guimaraes, just short of the halfway line, into Tonali. And it's back to Trippier. Infield it goes to Cher.
See, that outball to Livramento is too easy. The way Leicester have set up, it's like he's just an easy pass every time to get him up the pitch. It looks imbalanced the way Leicester is set up.
I mean, with all due respect, we spotted that within about 3 minutes of the game, and they've done nothing about it. I mean, if you're on the pitch, don't you see that and want to do something about it? Here's Daka running over the halfway line, bursting forward. Referee says he's dived. Play on. Tonali tells him to get up as well. He's just fallen over, and Cher brings it forward.
It was a positive run from Daka. I think he just lost control of it and decided to try and get a free kick, but that was better. He's got to have the Leicester players have got to find the courage to keep trying to do the right things. That's running forward with and without the ball. That's taking risks with the ball. Don't go back. Keep going forward. Try and get this crowd something to sing about, to shout about.
How demoralising is it? I'm sure it hasn't happened to you very often, but when a crowd turn on you like this and every mistake, every little setback is jeered, booed.
It's tough. I've had it a few times. Tough. You know, you're losing the game, they're on the team, and you've really got to find it within yourself to be brave. You've got to keep getting on the ball, you've got to keep trying to do the work without it, you've got to keep thinking that it can turn around for you. Obviously you're 4 or 5 down, that's different, but at 2 and 3 you're still in the game, you still got something to fight for. I haven't seen the heads drop. They're not running around, they're not trying, they're just lacking confidence in terms of their passing and the receiving of the ball. They don't look like a team who have got many ideas, who have got any confidence in what they're doing. They look a little bit all over the place in the way they're set up. And that's down to the coach.
Samare has just given the ball away in midfield again. And Newcastle have it back on halfway. Those white shirts attacking the goal away to our right, having established a 2-goal lead very early in the game. Both goals from Jacob Murphy, who has now 8 for the season. He assisted the Isaac goal against Brentford. In fact, those two have developed quite a partnership.
Great feet.
And they're coming forward again now. Bruno Guimaraes just evading Cody and then being challenged by Samare as he threatened to get away, looking to try and release Murphy down the right-hand side, but there was Luke Thomas in the left full-back position. He sends it centrally to Cody, who had to quickly get rid of it because he was being harassed by Murphy, into the centre of midfield and Daka, and then Ndidi. And look at the space over on that left-hand side for Justin. Livermento's made up the ground well. Justin's come infield. He's then pushed it on to El Canouse, out wide to Christensen, left-hand side. His cross blocked by Tonali.
Poor cross,
and then Trippier chases it out, plays it against Christensen, and Rob Jones gives a corner kick. I don't think he was too sure whether or not that was a corner or a goal kick, so he just gave Leicester the benefit of the doubt. Not that I think Kieran Trippier is too happy about it.
I think it was the first time we'd seen an overload for Leicester on that right-hand side. He's got well forward a couple of times, Justin.
Corner kick to be taken away to our left-hand side in the sparsely populated end in front of Pope's goal. And Luke Thomas's crossing effort is blocked by Barnes. It goes out for a second successive corner. More football fix for you tomorrow night as we take you round the grounds with Champions League action as part of our menu. Real Madrid are the visitors to the Emirates Stadium. Middlesbrough against Leeds is live on TalkSport 2 tomorrow night. Mark Wilson and former Leeds manager Neil Redfern are on commentary duty. Here's the cross from the left-hand side to be taken by Luke Thomas, left-footed, an outswinger. It's going to be headed away by Byrne. Didn't actually go anywhere near a blue shirt. It comes back out to El Canouse, who tries to funnel it through to Ndidi. He holding off Livramento, gives it back to Luke Thomas, and it's shoveled out and away for a throw-in down by the corner flag. And you might have heard a ripple of applause. It's for Ricardo Pereira, who's been out for a little while, and seeing him warm up down in front of us is a useful asset.
He had a couple of terrific seasons.
He didn't he? But he's been dogged by injury, plagued by injury actually. That's probably worth saying. Here is Thomas in towards the near post, away by Barnes. Thomas, who's been one of the most active of the Leicester players, nudges it through to El Canouse, and then it's all the way out towards the far side, but it's going to be a stretch for Justin to get there, and then he was pretty wasteful with his ball forward.
Tell you what was interesting, I know we've talked about it before and deviating a little bit from on the pitch quickly, but how many Newcastle fans are around us in the home bit? I know there's been a lot of talk about tickets for away fans getting in stadiums recently. It's been quite a topical debate.
Potato, yeah. There's a few Newcastle fans in here.
More than a few.
And wouldn't get a jacket on one of those either, would you? They wouldn't be wearing a jacket either, would they?
No.
Hardy souls. Unless they were covering up a Newcastle top, maybe. Let me give you the latest betting news. It's currently Leicester 0, Newcastle United 2. The latest odds are available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Leicester to win the game at 33-1. The draw 14-1. Newcastle 33-1 on. 80-1 to win 8-0.
Did you say Leicester 33-1 to win the game?
33-1 to win the game.
They haven't scored in 7 games, and someone's expecting them to score 3. That should be 3,333,333 to 1.
That's thanks to Danny Murphy, but the odds we did give you are all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus, BigGambleAware.org.
33-1. Come on.
Here's Livramento out to the far side, looking for Harvey Barnes.
Well, at least if I'm wrong, it'd be a good game.
Yeah. You won't be, though. Here is Trippier. I mean, it was billed as a big night for Ruud van Nistelrooy. 7 points from 17 games in charge since his appointment as Leicester manager in December. And already 2-0 down here. And with Newcastle on the attack. Livramento. His cross blocked by Justin. Comes back out to the far side. And again, Livramento has it. Infield to Tonali, then shuffled back towards the halfway line. Share, wide now to Trippier. Trippier looks up, plays it into the feet of Isak. Isak trying to go down the right-hand side, chops it back to Trippier. It was a little bit loose, and now El Canouse has chased it. He's beaten Trippier to it, and he's sparked a counter-attack for Leicester City. He's running to the edge of the penalty area. He goes on the outside. He gets a shot away. It's pushed behind, and there's something for the Leicester fans to cheer. In fact, 2 or 3 of them get on their feet, put their hands above their heads, and cheer like it's a goal itself.
Fabian Schär is having a right go at Isak. That was sloppy. Isak's touch took him wide. He tried to play it back to Trippier, overhit the ball. El Canouse was then on his way. Just a little bit complacent from Newcastle since the second goal.
Is there a danger that when you get 2-0 up too easily, you could just take your foot off the gas a little bit? 31 gone, it is 2-0. Here's El Canouse's corner, flicked away by Livramento, threatening to fall for Thomas, who does just lollop the ball back. It comes to Joel Linton, and then Tonali hacks it clear. It's going to bounce, and Isak's going to challenge for it. Samare's going to be out-muscled. He does just enough to get himself in front of the Swede, and it goes back to Hermansson. And he got away with it there. After letting that bounce, I thought he invited pressure.
He did, but he did well in the end. Composed himself well. Big long ball, having a race with Isak. Nobody really wants that, but he got there well, got his body in line, didn't panic.
Hermansson on the edge of his own penalty area. There was an instant there where they gave the ball to Luke Thomas, and after just surviving a long ball attack, they then conspired to give it back to Bruno Guimaraes again. They had just given it back to Fabian Schär, and it's now Newcastle in possession once more.
It was interesting there because Newcastle went man for man on the press, and they tried to do a little switch in midfield, Leicester, to gain some space, and it was quite nice, but it was just not a good enough ball. But really difficult when a team presses you man for man. Newcastle are very good at it when they do it properly.
They really are, and it's one of their major assets actually. And last year, even away from home in Europe, they were brilliant at doing just that. That's why they almost qualified from a Champions League group. In fact, they should have qualified from their Champions League group. They were denied by the award of a ridiculous penalty away in Paris.
I remember it,
which cost them dear.
Hell of a group as well.
It was an absolutely ridiculous group. AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund and PSG, and after thrashing PSG at home, they were in a great position, and they went to PSG and did a job on them away from home. You know, they got men behind the ball, they sacrificed themselves. Isak got the goal, they should have won it. Here is Daka out towards the right hand side, finding Ndidi now down the right hand side. Justin with the ball through the 6-yard box. He's just going to whack that through the 6-yard box. It's not going to trouble anyone. Goes out the other side. Picked up by Christensen. Travels infield. Feeds it into the path of El Khanous. El Khanous tries to work it onto his right foot and then goes to lay it off. Gives it straight to Harvey Barnes. Barnes charges forward. He's got Isak in the attack. He sends Isak down the left-hand side. Then continues his run through the middle of the park. Isak is faced up by Cody, but he cuts in right-footed, strikes it. It's half cleared. Comes back to Joel Linton inside the box. Easily goes past fast. Shoots. Comes off the goalkeeper. Tapped in by Barnes. It's 3-0. Again, sloppy, casual defending and ruthless attacking football by Newcastle United. How many do you want tonight, Newcastle? Because you can have the lot. 3-0, 34 minutes gone, and already there are Leicester bodies getting up and starting to walk out.
Do you know, the thing is, when El Khanous gives the ball away, he is only outside the box. It's a bad ball, but they're on a counter. But you can't be on a counter one-on-one with Isak for Cody. You can't be set up that way. You have to set up where you've got an extra defender. And then when Cody actually does okay. Defends the one-on-one, Fast comes over and helps him. Then Joel Linton comes. He's onside. Joel Linton has the shot. It's a decent save and he's there for the tap-in, but they're so wide open, Leicester, for the counters when they lose the ball.
Harvey Barnes, the former Leicester player, gets the third of Newcastle United's goals inside 35 minutes. And Leicester already beaten, and they are being bashed up. And I just think there was a moment there where you were right. Cody did quite well, actually.
He did all right. He waited for
he delayed him and stopped him from going any further. But the ball then is blocked, and Fast stands and looks at it, whereas Joel Linton reacts immediately.
Quickly, the reaction,
Cody steps in front of Murphy, then says, right, where am I going with this? Who's in front of me moving? Eventually Justin attempts to come forward. He moves up into the midpoint of the Newcastle half. Now Vardy back to Ndidi. You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 3 on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has all the vehicles your business needs with the flexibility to rent for minutes or months. Ball into the box, it's headed behind by Vardy.
We were talking earlier, weren't we, about obviously they weren't in the bottom three when Steve Cooper left. I know they still might be getting relegated if he was here, so we never know. But the one thing when I watched Leicester early in the season, I think we did one or two. We did
the first game of the season against Tottenham.
But I saw them in another game I was at, and or I did it live on telly, and they were hard to beat. They were rugged. They weren't good on the eye, but there was no way through. They were fighting for their lives. They They had numbers behind the ball. They were competitive in games, even if they weren't getting many wins.
Well, look,
They're not this ain't competitive.
No, they're not competitive at all. I mean, when they sacked Steve Cooper as manager, the team were outside the relegation zone. It was November, and if you look at it on a points per game basis, results have declined by 47% under Van Nistelrooy. And I actually wrote down this morning, they're nowhere near as competitive, and that's the biggest issue.
How many games
What's
was it when
what's
he got
the reason
sacked?
that it was the beginning of November? It was about 10, 11 games.
So more than a quarter, and they weren't in the bottom three. Be careful what you wish for sometimes.
And factor in that he had not been given that many new bodies.
No, he
had required them until very, very late. And the players that he got weren't ideal. In the end, he just wanted bodies into the team. I remember speaking to him on the eve of the new season, and he was saying, someone at the club has got to purchase some players.
They got Jordan Ayew late, I think, didn't they?
Yeah. And he said, even if it's just bodies into the group, we need them. And recruitment was really poor last summer. I think they thought they were going to get hit by a 6-point deduction from PSR.
And they
got away with it through a loophole, which seems pointless now that they spent all that money, because they're going to go down by an incredible number of points anyway. Might as well have kept the money and spent it on a central midfielder or a centre half.
Or a centre forward.
Here is any number of positions that might have been helpful. Away by Trippier, up towards the halfway line, headed down and away by Cody. Livramento was in the centre forward position there, and he's just funneled back into his left back area as indeed he's come forward. We've got 7 minutes before half time. It's Leicester 0, Newcastle United 3. Sun has gone down now, and the sun will soon be setting on Leicester in the Premier League. Here is Christensen, left side. Into Thomas. Across to Samare, who sends a crossfield ball from left to right out towards Justin. Justin then chips it back into the centre. It's into the arms of Nick Pope, who grabs it from the sky and pulls it into his chest. He's wearing all pink tonight, bright pink, fuchsia pink. And he runs out to the edge of his penalty area and bowls it overarm into Livramento. Livramento travels forward, but not on any great pace. He takes a couple of steps, then stops, then gives it back to Dan Burn. It's forward by Bruno Guimaraes, up and away by Luke Thomas, who stopped and headed the ball forward. Cody into midfield, and Samare, he tries to turn and evade the challenge of Guimaraes. He plays it centrally but straight at Cher, who steps out with the ball, encouraged to come forward. In fact, he's encouraged to shoot. Vardy fights for it, but didn't get hold of it.
Oh no.
Barnes trying to play it through the legs a little bit cockily, and Christensen stopped it, and Leicester have it back again. But immediately that Leicester win the ball, Newcastle get behind it, make sure that there's no gaps that they can run into. I think only once tonight, when the ball was played down the right to Justin. It's given away by Justin now. Straight to Isak, edge of the penalty. Right-footed shot, drilled it towards the far corner. Just didn't catch it right and just didn't quite bring it inside the post. But he hit it early, which had it a bit on target, I think would have caught out Hermansen.
Well, I mean, really sloppy from Justin again. They are all over the place. Tries to drill it in the bottom corner, just drags it a little bit, but he does the right thing actually. Tries to keep it really low and bend it into that bottom corner with a bit of whip, not drill. Seeing the replay, he actually whipped it with the inside of his foot. I thought he hit it with his laces at first. He tried to whip it in the bottom corner.
And remains 3-0. Could be more. Here is El Khanous trying to turn the tide. Trippier comes across, gets there ahead of Vardy. It's poked by Daka. Hits both posts inside of the post and comes into the arms of Nick Pope. They're never going to score again.
Hey, when it's not going for you, it's offside anyway. It's offside anyway.
I mean, it wouldn't have counted, but it didn't go in anyway because Daka, who's just stabbed at it. I mean, he never scores any goals. He scored one all season.
It was tight. He is just off Vardy, I think.
Vardy sort of was challenged on the edge of the penalty. It came back to the edge of the D, where Daka hit it first time. It hit the inside of the left-hand upright, rolled along the line and hit the inside of the right-hand upright, then came back out into the arms of Nick Pope, the goalkeeper. Crikey.
It'd been worse if it had gone in and then disallowed because of the offside, wouldn't it, when you think about it?
Here is Joel Linton out towards Jacob Murphy, who then charges forward. Goes into Isaac again. He's being chased now by Ndidi, but he's teased the ball into Murphy, who's inside the penalty area. Gets to the byline. Low cross, which is too close to Hermansen, who drops on the ball. And he will clear it away. 3.5 minutes to go before half-time. And still one or two, I think, Newcastle supporters that are partying in Covent Garden. They never actually went home from the Carabao Cup final. It's been an amazing journey for Leicester. They sort of rise, or trace their rise, to that 1997 League Cup success under Martin O'Neill, a victory after a replay against Middlesbrough. And a suggestion may be that Newcastle can use their Carabao Cup triumph to sort of launch themselves into a slightly different stratosphere, build a big future off a cup win. And they might need to retain a few of the superstars. Here is Daka down the right hand side, trying to get into the box. He plays it against Byrne. It ricochets behind and goes out for a goal kick.
I think Dan Byrne's having a word with Livramento there, just saying to him, look, don't need to be bombing on there, we're 3-0 up, 2 minutes to go till half time. And he's right, Dan Byrne. I know sometimes you get carried away thinking, 4, 5, 6, let's go forward, we're enjoying ourselves. You're not here to enjoy yourself, you're here to win. Then you enjoy it after.
Well, the Newcastle fans over on the far side are enjoying themselves. And Leicester City certainly not so. Here is the corner to be taken by Luke Thomas, far side. The writers, Leicester look at it. It's an in-swinger punched away by Pope.
Why is he not catching that?
Don't know. It was not under any pressure.
I'd understand more with the foreign keepers, but English keepers, brought up a bit differently.
What's the difference between English hands and foreign hands?
Foreign keepers have always punched. The English keepers generally have grown up doing more catching. I don't know.Maybe I'm wrong.
I did see.
I'm not xenophobic. I'm just saying that I think English keepers have had a different education than foreign goalkeepers.
I did see on Thursday night. Did you watch the Chelsea-Tottenham game? Where Vicario came out like Superman and punched one when he didn't have anyone around him at all. And I thought that was a little strange. Because sometimes it's got to be more beneficial to catch it, right?
Well, I just could be going mad at him. I don't understand why a goalkeeping coach wouldn't be looking at the videos and saying, don't ever do that again.
Here is Bruno Guimaraes up towards halfway, gets to the halfway line, plays it out to Murphy. He held on to it well. Murphy travels down the touchline and then tries to sort of miss it. He trying to bend it into Isak, who was approaching the edge of the 6-yard box, but he didn't catch it right, as Danny was saying.
He did, because he's so far away, he's got to really hit it hard and wrap his foot round it, hence the fact that he mishit it, because it's such a high tariff cross from that far away. But it's another good break.
I wonder what Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall are thinking. I mean, Jason Tindall did a big interview this week where he said, I don't care what people think about me. He has got a bit of a reputation of sort of being the mad dog on the touchline, revving people up the wrong way. But the partnership between the two really works, doesn't it? The outgoing. Actually, if you ever meet Jason Tindall, he's a really down-to-earth, nice guy, and the partnership between him and Andy works well because the different personalities complement one another.
Absolutely, you need that. You do. Whether you like someone or not, from afar doesn't matter. And he's right. They shouldn't care. They care about the success on the pitch, and if their dynamic works for the group, then great.
Ball cleared by Hermansen, up over halfway. Same towards Christensen, who does win the header ahead of Trippier. Byrne goes up. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first 45, of which we've just strayed into. Livramento looking to extend the Newcastle lead before the end of the first half.
Look how easy it is for him to run up the pitch that far.
He's travelled 40 yards with the ball without any
engagement.
Eventually gives the ball away.
He did, but you're going to when it's too easy for him. And the problem is Newcastle have got now is how much do they put in to score more or manage the game? Does he make some subs? Would you bring Isak off now?
No,
I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
When's the next game?
It don't matter. You want
Sunday afternoon.
You've won this one.
They play Manchester United on Sunday. We're at the Sunday session live from Newcastle on Sunday. I mean, possibly if he's got options that he wants to use.
You want to get in the top 4, don't you?
They will get in the top 4.
Well, you're not Mystic Mac. I mean, you're a good commentator, but you're not a psychic.
What were the odds that you gave me earlier on? I'll start issuing you some odds. I think they'll get into the top 4. But they only need to get into the top 5 to get into the Champions League. But yeah, okay, maybe you might rest some aching limbs if you feel that's going to be beneficial to you. But I also think goal difference wise, you might think you can get a few here.
Maybe.
Tonight.
Yeah,
I maybe give it 60 minutes.
Maybe. I thought he'd had a couple of little niggles and problems in the last week or two, though.
Everyone always gets a couple of niggles and problems. No one's ever 100. You know that.
Do you have niggles and problems?
Every day, especially at the moment. Crikey! I went on a run this morning, and I think my foot cramped up about 6 times.
But you battled through, didn't you?
I got
through.
You
did, of course you did.
All 2.5 kilometres of it. Sure. Over towards Birmingham.
On an electric scooter.
With a helmet on. Here is Joel Linton. Offside flag is up against him, and it's going to be a free kick halfway inside the Leicester half, which will be the last act of what has been an absolutely abysmal first 45 minutes for Leicester City. They have defended shambolically, and as a result Newcastle are about to inflict a club record 8th successive defeat on Leicester, thanks to goals from Jacob Murphy. He's got 2 of them, and Harvey Barnes, the former Leicester player, has got another one. They've put the team on the verge of returning into the top 5, in fact top 4, and Leicester on the verge of a return to the Championship. They're avoiding that now. Half time, it is Leicester 0, Newcastle United 3. Well, Jacob Murphy is looking for a hat-trick. He last scored one nearly 10 years ago for Coventry City, on loan from Norwich against Gillingham, November 2015.
He's had a great season.
And he's played really well this season. 8
really
goals. He's an impressive partnership with Isaac. They've now assisted 7 of Isaac's 20 Premier League goals. Isaac's returned the favour once. The duo have 8 goal-assist combinations in the Premier League this season, the highest total of any pair of players. Only Andy Cole and Peter Beardsley in 93-94 have had more goal-assist combinations for Newcastle in any Premier League season, Danny.
Yeah, I think he's established himself. His confidence has grown. You know, he's been a bit part player really up until this season. And again, another great example, shining example of a player improving in terms of every aspect of his game under Eddie Howe.
Indeed. 2 changes for Leicester at half-time as they shoot from left to right in blue shirts, blue shorts and blue socks. Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion is on in place of Patson Daka, and Steffi Maverdidi is on in place of Victor Christensen, which I think means that we will get that more conventional 4 at the back from Leicester City, with Maverdidi playing as an out-and-out winger.
Well, it was more or less a 4 in the first half, really. I just think Christensen was put ahead of
Luke Thomas.
Yeah, sorry, Luke Thomas ahead of him as a protective element, really, but it didn't work, obviously, and the changes seem sensible.
So that means that it's Hermansen in goal, Justin Fass, Cody and Luke Thomas, Ndidi and Samare as the 2 holders, with Buonanotte and Maverdidi as the widest of players, and then El Kanu's trying to support Vardy in attack, and Vardy's trying to charge through the middle here, but Nick Pope is quickly off his line, gobbles it up and jumps towards the edge of the penalty area. For Newcastle United, it's Pope, Trippier, Sherburn and Livramento, who's on the ball now, bounding forward, trying to get to the edge of the box. He's balled down by Justin. He's going to get a yellow card, and Livramento's gone down.
What a run that was. But that run was allowed because of the fact the space is in front of him and the wide man isn't. He's too far tucked in. I mean, he's run from his own half, 60 yards? He's on the edge of the box, and now they've got a free kick.
It's a terrible challenge from Justin, isn't it, really? I mean, he's not getting anywhere near the ball, so he just dives into him.
I'm not sure if he got a card there. I was watching
He did, yellow card, yeah. For James Justin, I'll make up the rest of the 11 for Newcastle. I did the back 4, Guimaraes, Tonali and Joel Linton in midfield, with Murphy, Isaac and Barnes up top. No changes from the first 45. 3-0 to Newcastle. Free kick edge of the penalty area. If you're Fabian Schär, you're licking your lips from this sort of range, or are you going to leave it for Trippier? Livramento just looked over to the bench and had a word with Jason Tindall, who's orchestrating this set piece. He was the one who designed the set pieces that led to the goals that won them the Carabao Cup final.
Drill it to the back post to your 6'5" centre half.
That's it.
It's inventive.
Listen, it did the trick.
It damn did, and I love simplicity.
It's Trippier who strikes it right-footed over the top of the crossbar by some distance.
Not his best.
And it goes out for a goal kick. The first meeting this season was Newcastle's 4-0 home win on December the 14th. Murphy got 2 that night as well. Bruno Guimaraes and Isaac scored to inflict a first defeat on Ruud van Nistelrooy as Leicester manager in his 3rd game in charge. He's had quite a few since. Leicester haven't been beaten twice in one season by Newcastle United since the first Premier League season they played together in 94-95. But unless there's a miracle turnaround, they're going to lose this one. Here is Vardy, who I'm not entirely sure even he knows what he was trying to do there.
I think he was just trying to get the deflection for a corner, and he just moved out the way when he chipped it at him.
It's gone straight into the arms of Pope, and it will be cleared away. 49 minutes on the clock. Bad news for Leicester is that Newcastle usually come out for the second half ready for action. 11 goals in the first 15 minutes of second halves this season, but they've given the ball away here. Mamadidi's fallen over though, and Scher has tried to release Murphy, who's run into Vardy, who's competed well for it, helped it to the far side. El Khanous takes over, runs past Tonali, looks to try and get the cross in, does into Vardy, who flicks it on, doesn't get to Ndidi, scooped away by Byrne, and it's out for a corner over on the far side. 3-0 the score.
Decent start to the second half for Leicester. Vardy getting on the ball a couple of times. Had a little miss-kick there when the ball got pulled back, but they've got the corner.
Bit of pushing going on inside the penalty area.
Oh, here we go.
Rob Jones has to warn everybody not to do that, just in case that you didn't know that wasn't allowed.
Why do they do it? Why, Sam? Tell me why.
Here's the corner on the far side. El Khanous away by Isaac, who rises highest, glances it towards the near side. It's collected by Buonanotte now, who gets it onto his left foot and sends it centrally. A flick on by Ndidi takes it wide of the far post by quite some way.
No, I'm not kidding with this.
No.
Why not just give a free kick or a penalty? So a free kick or penalty, if it's whichever way it is, it's a free kick to the defending side or it's a penalty to the attacker.
Just allow the play to happen, so let the corner be taken, and if there's an infringement, blow for whatever that infringement is.
I don't
because
understand.
It's not like the players haven't been told before. They've done it in every game.
They don't do it on throw-ins, because what they might say is the ball's out of play. But on a throw-in, before you take the throw-in, they don't start saying to the centre half and the centre forward, don't be pushing each other, just before the ball comes in. It's bizarre.
I think this is the 309th game of the season, and so I'm pretty sure they're well versed in what they should be doing and not what they shouldn't be doing at corners. So
why do they do it?
They don't need a retelling of the rules every time.
Do you think they do it because they want to come across as reasonable?
I think they're maybe building rapport, yes. Maybe. Managing the game. But I think you'd cut it out quicker if you just decided, yep,
that's my point.
I'll give a free kick or I'll give a penalty, and that's it. And then if you
I'd like to ask Howard Webb that actually next time I see him. I will ask him, because I know we joke about it because we talk about it so often, but I actually think it's a serious point.
It does waste time as well, doesn't it? That's the other thing. It kills momentum, and a bit like, we had the 5-minute VAR check at Tottenham yesterday. When you have a long delay before a corner, it does just frustrate you. Here is Isaac from the right-hand side for Newcastle. We're on the attack, sending the ball centrally, tucked behind by Cody, who got back into the 18-yard box, and it's out for a corner kick over on the far side in front of those Newcastle United fans. Newcastle fans who actually were quite excited about coming down here tonight. They say that it's a nice away end to watch your team from. That corner of the stand opposite us, away to our left. You're over the corner flag, you sort of curve around it. It's a good vantage point. Certainly making a lot of noise tonight.
Always do, don't they? Brilliant supporters.
Here's the corner, Trippier to take it, far side, right-footed. He sends it high into the air, and Byrne comes up to meet it, sends it through the 6-yard box. Vardy gets it away before it reaches Isaac. Not the best of clearances, but eventually comes to Tonali. He prods it forward, Ndidi away. Trippier's going to get there ahead of Mamadidi and see it back to his goalkeeper, Nick Pope, who will clear. High up into the Leicester half, dealt with by Cody, chested down by Ndidi. There's a little flick of the arm into the face of Bruno Guimaraes, who's gone down, accusing Ndidi of flicking his head out, his hand out, and because it's a head injury, it's got to be dealt with immediately, and the physios are called on to make sure that Bruno Guimaraes is not seriously injured.
I think he was caught, but the fact he's punching the ground when he's on the ground tells you he's not seriously hurt, because that takes effort and energy, and if you're seriously hurt, you don't punch the ground.
Did get a hand in the face, but it's nothing more than that. 7 minutes gone, 8 minutes gone in the second half. Expected goals tally of 2.81 for Newcastle United tonight. Leicester City have barely laid a glove on the Newcastle back line. The best effort they had was offside. Daka hitting both posts. Newcastle have adjusted well, I think, to last season when they were narrowly pushed out of the European places by the winning the FA Cup final by Manchester United. They were 7 points better off than after 29 Premier League games last season, and even though they haven't been as gung-ho, they've scored 14 fewer goals, they have for the most part tightened up at the back. Overall they've conceded 12 fewer goals this campaign, and back to their better performances from the season before, which saw them into the Champions League.
And that, to be fair, is with they'd lost Botman for a huge period of this season.
Basically all of it. I think he's only played a handful of games, if that.
I think he started 3 or 4 in the Prem.
And he's a big miss. He's a brilliant defender.
Yeah, he's good.
But he just can't stay fit, sadly. That knee has become a real issue. Here is Mabadidi. Back it goes to Samari. It must be a real blow when you are as good as that and you have such a great future but yet can't stay fit. Vardy coming back from an offside position, but Newcastle have the ball. Rob Jones has decided that he's going to stop and take it back anyway, even though Leicester realised that Newcastle were escaping and trying to stop them. Seemed a bit of a strange thing to do, to pull it back. Shares to take the free kick just in front of the D, away to our right hand side, kicked up towards the left, and it's collected by Livramento, the England man. Infield to Joel Linton through the centre circle, Share, and then back to the far side where Murphy is awaiting it. He juggles with it, gives it to Trippier to Share into Tonali, round the corner it goes, but there's a foul there, an unnecessary one by Samare, because actually that ball by Tonali wasn't really going anywhere.
No, but he played it one touch knowing he was going to get hit. It was so clever. I'd like to see more of that from Leicester. My players are 3-0 down at half time. I want at least 7 bookings in the second half.
I was going to talk to you about that actually, because they are the only Premier League team, Leicester, not to have a red card this season. And whilst I'm not saying anyone should be looking to get players sent off, it's sort of indicative of the fact that there's been very little fight.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not that you want stupid ill-discipline, but you want passion. And sometimes passion goes across the line. But if it's not there often enough, how can you never have a red card when you're nearly bottom of the league and conceded 700 goals?
Onanotte heads to...
What?
I thought what you said was funny.
Oh, I didn't mean it to be.
Here's Vardy, ball towards Mabadidi, out towards the left-hand side, and it's back to Luke Thomas. 11 minutes played in the second half, and Mabadidi is trying to skip beyond Murphy, stopped by Tonali. It's a Newcastle fan that you can hear over in the far corner, louder voice and certainly full of the joys of spring. It is a good time to be a Newcastle United fan. Carabao Cup winners for the first time. 70 years between domestic trophies, now looking to build a new stadium capable of holding 70,000. Well, 300,000 people took to the streets to celebrate with the team last weekend, conducted by Ant and Dec. And that has strengthened the belief internally that they can aim high with their new stadium and their new plans. Here is the feet of Pope kicking the ball long, kept in well by Barnes and then by Joel Linton. It is very easy for Newcastle. 57 on the clock. Ball back-heeled by Murphy into the path of Trippier. And Trippier trying to take it round Mabadidi, feeds it into Bruno Guimaraes. It's excellent play by him. Lovely touch by Murphy, but he doesn't find Bruno Guimaraes, who's accused of fouling Samare. Free kick is given in favour of Leicester City.
It always feels easier when you're 3-0 up. Everything feels like light work.
Especially if someone passes you the ball like Hermansen has just done to Livramento.
Yeah, that helps.
It's back with Tonali and then to the left and Byrne. And that's been a sort of feature of Leicester's play tonight. The constant gifting of possession in dangerous areas to their opponents. Newcastle maybe haven't profited as much as their manager would like, but I don't think he'll argue about the fact that they are fully in command here and in no need to stretch themselves too much. You actually were of the opinion that they might make a substitution of their star players at some point.
I would. Big game at the weekend, why risk them?
Here's Mabadidi over on the far side, running towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to test their resolve. The cross into the box flicked away by Livramento and out on the near side. Once again retrieved by Justin, who sends it into the box, but it's blocked by Harvey Barnes, who got back to prevent the cross from going into the middle. Canus is looking for Vardy with a curling ball, which cut through the heart of the Newcastle defence. He couldn't reach it. Mabadidi into the near post, takes a deflection, goes into the side netting. It's out for a Leicester corner.
Great ball from Canus. Got his head up nice and early, whipped it in there, inches away from Vardy getting something onto it. Just a little bit concerned down there in the dugout. Jason Tyndall and Eddie Howe having a chat.
Wonder whether or not we might get some changes for Newcastle in the next few moments. Lewis Miley's been warming up and he's just gone down to get a set of instructions. Callum Wilson away to our left-hand side and Emil Crafter there too. Here is the corner, taken on the far side by El Canus. It's a deep one towards Cody, headed away by Bruno Guimaraes, then headed away by Buonanotte. Barnes almost got there and looked threatening to escape, but Samare tidies up for Leicester, who have the ball inside Newcastle territory. We're hitting the hour mark. Newcastle, you mentioned a big game at the weekend. They take on Manchester United at home, then Palace at home, Aston Villa away, Ipswich at home, Brighton away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, and Everton at home. That's their remaining fixtures, and they're pretty confident that they can get into the Champions League for next season. They're in a strong position.
Really good position.
3 defeats in 4 Premier League games in February had left Eddie Howe's team looking a little bit vulnerable, but again they've just flexed their muscles at the right time. And they are a strong unit. If you trace their form back since the beginning of January, the beginning of December, when they lost to Brentford, they had that little heart-to-heart, and ever since then they've been in fantastic form, really.
Yeah, they went on that great run, didn't they?
9 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Burn out towards Livramento. He plays it infield to Joe Linton. It's a little bit short, but he takes it anyway. Brushes aside Ndidi. Isaac sends it on. Livramento into the penalty area. Could cut it back to Isaac here. Feeds it into the Swede, who's just on the left side of the area. Gives it to Joe Linton. Joe Linton under pressure. Across comes the defender. It's going to be Tonali who gets there first. He runs into the path of Livramento. Buonanotte goes down, but the referee... Well, he's going to stop the game because he's got a hand injury. He's hurt his hand.
I mean...
Stop the game because he's hurt his hand. You're listening.
Turn my mic off, will you?
You're listening to Leicester 0, Newcastle 3 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available on no contract with Now, like Leicester versus Newcastle live right now. Search Now Sports. And the good news is that I've got one of those TVs, and I'm sure many people have now, where you don't need to use your injured hand if you want to change the channel. You can just use the voice control and it turns over itself. So Buonanotte will be okay. And funnily enough, he is okay, Dan.
Do you know what? I'm really pleased. I was worried about him for a second.
Murphy steps in past Thomas into Isaac, holds it well, turns it outside towards Bruno Guimaraes. His cross into the box towards Harvey Barnes, and across comes the defender, and Justin gets there ahead of Barnes, and apparently Barnes committed a foul.
Good move. Great ball in from Bruno Guimaraes. I think Harvey Barnes thinks just waiting to put his head on it. Good header from Justin. Wasn't the bravest there, Harvey Barnes, actually. Expected a bit more, I don't know, desire to get himself another goal, go and attack over the top of Justin, turn his body into him a little bit.
Far be it from me to suggest that when Gordon is fully fit, that Eddie Howe will have a decision to make, but on stats alone, Harvey Barnes is actually contributing a goal or assist 69 minutes more frequently on Anthony Gordon on average this season in the Premier League. He's had more shots and more touches in the opponent's box per 90 than Gordon this season as well. On the score sheet again today. That sort of competition is really healthy for Newcastle.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Harvey Barnes. He's just not been able to keep himself fit for huge long periods to push Gordon enough. He has had a couple of spells in the team where he's done really well, and then this latest one again, of course.
It's because the problem for Newcastle is that they've got two great wingers, both of them who want to play on the left-hand side.
I think both who prefer to play on the left. Yeah, I've seen them both play on the right, and I think it's important that they don't do that reluctantly. You don't play as well if you do. If you start a game of football in a position you don't want to be in, but you do it reluctantly, you're not going to play as well. I occasionally, when I used to, in my early days, ended up playing on the left rather than the right for Liverpool in a 4. And initially I hated it till I realised I was going to score more there because I was going to cut inside.
Here is Barnes, left-hand side for Newcastle, into Joel Linton, edge of the penalty area, tries to feed it back to Barnes, a little bit hefty, just scoots away from Barnes and runs out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side, down the inside left channel, and out for a goal kick, which Hermansen will take. Lewis Miley coming on for Joel Linton, Sean Longstaff coming on for Bruno Guimaraes. They're going to be the two changes. And Lewis Miley enters the fray, wearing a bit of Under Armour under his short sleeve top. So is Longstaff. And I think those two players, Bruno Guimaraes and Joel Linton, deserve a bit of a rest. They get through a lot of work. They do. Major assets to this Newcastle team.
I wonder if Tonali's thinking, why are you not bringing me off as well? Am I not valued as much as those two?
He's not as old as those two. He's a couple of years younger than both of them. Sandro Tonali.
I like him a lot, Tonali. Really.
What did you make of his goal in midweek, by the way?
Well, exactly what he said. He was honest enough, wasn't he?
Yeah. It's good though, isn't it?
Yeah,
good to watch.
The fact he tried to drill it across as hard as he did takes some bravery in itself, but a little bit of a miss it and straighten it. Yeah, we've all done it.
Oh, you say we've all done it. You've probably done it.
Yeah.
Me and Adrian probably haven't done it.
You've probably done it in a five-a-side game or something.
We've probably mishit something, yeah.
I completely missed it a volley once, and I was aiming for the far top left corner. It went in the top right corner.
Must have been terrible for you.
No, do you know what? Most people didn't know unless you played, and you think, yeah, come on, just cut across. Did you
celebrate?
God, yeah, it was semi-final of the League Cup. Cop end.
Here is Hermansen out to the far side. And, it's with now Conor Cody, who brings it clear. One of my favourite moments actually was in the League Cup semi-final when Isaac had a shot from the edge of the penalty area which hit the post and came back out and was converted by Jacob Murphy. The shot that he took on that night was absolutely terrific. It rattled the woodwork. The League Cup semi-final at home against Arsenal, which they eventually emerged from, and then went and won in the final as well. He's been a magic signing, hasn't he, Alexander Isak? 24 goals this season. He's actually done very well against the bottom teams this season. A hat-trick against Ipswich, 2 against Southampton, scored 1 against Leicester earlier in the campaign, but hasn't got on the score sheet yet. I think he's probably staying on because he wants to get one. Here is Livramento on halfway, moving forward into Lewis Miley.
Can he still win the Golden Boot?
Yeah, of course he can. 24. Salah hasn't scored for ages. I think what's Salah up to now? He's not up to 30 yet, is he? He's at 27.
So yeah, he can. I was expecting you to know that. It was a little test there.
Well, let's see if I've got it right, shall we?
You normally have that stuff right on the top of your head.
I said he had 27, Mo Salah, and he's got 27. So there you go.
Nice.
Isaac's only got 20 goals in the Premier League, so he's 7 behind.
Oh, so no then.
Oh yeah, he can. Well, he's got more games to go than Salah as well, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, that's true. He's got 7 after tonight.
He's got an 8 after tonight because they've got 2 games in hand.
Oh,
given away to Miley, edge of the penalty area by Hermansen. Still Miley travels into the box and turns it back out to Livramento. Livramento now moves towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it infield, and gives it back to Cher. A little bit of patience here, and then he shoots, takes a deflection, it goes towards the top corner, and it's stopped by Hermansen.
Hermansen did well because, it's run-of-the-mill save, but he'd be glad he'd be happy he's got it in his hands because he gave the ball away initially, and indeed he did a terrific little bit of recovery on Miley. Didn't bring him down, he was patient, he got himself back in, and Miley couldn't get his shot away, but again, it's a gift, isn't it?
What did Hermansen see there? Because he's on the edge of the penalty area. His passing lanes are all shut off by white shirts. Why has he decided to try and force that into Ndidi when Miley's standing in front of him? What has he seen?
I think just a moment of madness where he doesn't quite get his feet sorted, or he's encouraged by the coach to play out, or whatever it is, caught in two minds, plays the wrong pass or an in-between pass. It's a nightmare for goalkeepers sometimes, especially when they're forced to do it, instead of having the autonomy to go, I'm going to go long.
Well, that's the key thing, isn't it? You've got to be able to make your selection yourself, because you're the one who ultimately has to execute it. Here is Fass moving up to halfway, clipping it forward. Easy header away by Byrne. Flicked further forward by Cher into Miley now, who plays it out to Livramento on this near side. Livramento turns back, across the face of his own goal into Cher. Longstaff, he's a little bit short. Indeed, he picks it up. And now Leicester have got it in some opposition territory. I'll give you the latest odds in just a second, but Leicester having a rare foray into Newcastle half. Tapped forward by Samare and then into James Justin.
I feel for Longstaff a bit. He had that wonderful season, didn't he, when they did so well, and he was playing every week and every minute, and he was more or less, and he was scoring goals. Need to go again.
Isaac powering forward. He's got Murphy to his right hand side. It wasn't a great ball. Murphy's got hold of it anyway, moves it into the area. Miley just meanders beyond him and then comes out to Barnes on the near side, then into Tonali now, edge of the penalty area. Leicester now got men back behind the ball, and that attack's going to filter out. It's going to filter out because there's an offside flag.
I think it was the original one from Murphy when Isak delayed the pass. Pass wasn't good anyway, but he should have been more in front of him and earlier, because he was on his way.
I just wonder whether or not it was Barnes actually, when he came back, when the ball came back a second time, he sort of come back from an offside position. Either way, the attack is slowed, the momentum killed, and I'll tell you now that it's currently Leicester 0, Newcastle 3. The latest odds are available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Isaac to score the next goal at 5-1, 8-0 now, 150-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BeGambleAware.org. And the reason 8 is so significant is because 8 goals would take Newcastle into the top 4 above Chelsea, and they have done it relatively recently by Premier League standards anyway, 18 months ago against Sheffield United, when they had 8 different scorers, would you believe, Daniel?
I think I remember it.
Given away by El Kanou's far side, edge of the Newcastle penalty area, right side, right on the far side is Cher, and then he plays it out towards the near touchline, where Livramento once again gallops forward with gay abandon, looking for Barnes. Barnes then takes over, runs centrally. He tries to release Isaac, but Cody steps across. He takes it into a right full-back position and then will clear. Byrne will win it back high up, and Newcastle turn it over again. Back heel by Miley. The ball goes out of play. The referee didn't know who touched what, and Ian Hussin, the assistant, didn't know either, so in the end they just gave it to Leicester.
Watching Livramento live, obviously we know he's quick and he's strong, but seeing him actually in full flow, it's a sight, isn't it? Powerful, great energy, speed, power, presence.
End of the night for Alexander Isak. Didn't get his goal tonight, but his all-round performance he'll be pretty happy with. He set up or instigated the goal.
No striker's happy, Sam,
took
when
the
they
game
come
away.
Up without scoring. He'll be happy they've won, but he won't be happy he hasn't scored.
Callum Wilson comes on, proven Premier League goal scorer. May well be his time at Newcastle ends this summer. His contract running out, but
whose contract's running out, you say?
Wilson, looking for his 50th Premier League goal, looking for his 50th Newcastle goal tonight. And the other change is Murphy, who's not going to get his hat-trick. He's being replaced by Will Asula, the Danish under-21 international, who comes on for the final just about 20 minutes of the game, probably, I would have thought, with injury time. Here is Luke Thomas over on the far side. Tomorrow morning, the Boys on Breakfast will wake you up and take you through all of the reaction to this game and build up to another night of Champions League action. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Make sure you get the TalkSport Superstar Breakfast on. Simon and Jim on from 10. And then Wednesday, Danny Murphy will be with them between 10 and 1. We've got live commentary of the Aston Villa game on Wednesday night. Thursday night, a double offering from the Europa League with both Manchester United and Tottenham in action. And before that, 5:45 on TalkSport 2, Chelsea's trip to Legia Warsaw in the Conference League quarter-finals. Saturday lunchtime, Manchester City look to try and answer the challenge that has been offered to them by Newcastle United when they take on Crystal Palace. Here is Ndidi over on the far side. Ball goes back to Cody's given the ball away edge of the penalty area, straight to Willisula. He's inside the box, he goes on the outside. His left-footed shot is a poor one. I think he double hit that. He hit that with his left onto his right, and it then careered behind well wide of goal.
It was poor, but you know what I like about it? It was decisive. So he's won the ball. What am I going to do? I'm going to take him on. I'm going to get shot off. No dilly-dally. Bam, bit of skill on the left foot. Miss it, no problem. No problem.
Well, the Leicester fans are delighted to see Ricardo Pereira out for months and months and months because of injury, and they're also delighted to see Jeremy Monga, 15 years of age, joined the under-9s at Leicester, comes from Coventry, born in 2009, became the youngest Premier League 2 scorer before Max Dowman broke that record, the Arsenal player. Played for the England under 15s and 16s. He's the second youngest Leicester City player since Ashley Chambers.
And Max Dowman's got a bit as well, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Yeah, and interestingly, to have Jeremy Monga in a team which also includes Jamie Vardy, which is quite amazing. It's one end of the spectrum to the other, isn't it?
Well, it could be his dad, couldn't he?
Yes, he could. I don't think he is, but, you know, interesting. You know it's Jeremy Monga because he's the only one as well who's not wearing a sponsor on his kit because they're sponsored by a gaming company, Leicester.
Oh, and he's too young.
And he's too young to have that on his kit, so he's not allowed to wear that. So he's got a blank shirt on.
It's like a trialist.
Jeremy Monga, yeah. But he's very well thought of, and it's his first appearance for Leicester City, and they'll be delighted to see him. And they certainly were when he came on for 15 minutes at the end of the game. Ball played down the right-hand side. It's cleared by Cher. It's collected now by... it was collected by Ndidi, but he almost had it pinched through out fast. I wonder if he's allowed to play tonight because he's on school holidays. It's Easter holidays, and he won't have to go up for school in the morning.
Maybe.
There was a little bit of a rule about that I think we got told about it in the FA Cup game because he was on the bench for the FA Cup game away at Manchester United. I think they were sort of briefing to us that if the game went to extra time, he wouldn't be allowed to play because there's a working time regulation for under 15s and they're not allowed to work after 11. Is that right? Something like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to happen tonight. There's going to be no extra time. But it's going to be a long journey back. It's going to be a late night. Here is Monga on the ball, trying to play it down the right, plays it against Livramento, and then it's into the feet of Ndidi. It's cleared away by Byrne and then picked up by Asula. Asula gangly and long, gives the ball away. Monga picks it up and it's picked up by Byrne, and Byrne will take it towards the right. Across comes Pereira, causing a few problems. He's won the corner. They've missed him as well, haven't they? Yeah. He's a really good player. James Justin struggled a lot, I think, at right back this season, and he's always an asset to have in your team.
Oh, at his best, he was a terrific fullback. Good going forward, quick, one-on-one defending, good passer. Expected big things from him, but of course he had that really long-term injury, didn't he, that he's never quite recovered from.
Buonanote's corner is a deep one. Cody looking to get underneath it, away by Longstaff, flicks it clear, it goes out for a corner over on the far side. Still 3-0 on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, Enterprise have got a van. Here's the corner, outswinger towards the penalty spot. Buonanote with a header, hits the back of Ndidi, comes to Fast, who strikes it. It's blocked inside the box, cleared away. Half-hearted appeals for a penalty, which are waved away by Rob Jones. And it's cleared over the halfway line, and Hermansen receives it now. He looks up, drives the ball high into the air. It's headed away by Livramento, won by Buonanotte. Miley tussles for it, goes out of play on the near side, and it's away for a throw. Monga's got it again, trying to turn away from Miley. Buonanotte receives it. Samare bumped by Wilson, but they still have the ball. Monga's got it again down the outside, trying to get the cross in, runs at Asula, beats him, and then runs into Livramento, defends well. It goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our right hand side. You wonder how much change will have to happen at Newcastle in the summer. They made a £28 million profit on transfers this season. I wonder if that will load up the coffers for Eddie Howe for a splurge in the summer. How many additional resources they would get should they reach the Champions League, and if they were, for example, to sell one of the big hitters like Isaac. He's always been very careful with his recruitment, Eddie Howe.
Their recruitment's been really good for quite a long time, but I think defensively for sure they'll need one or two. And of course you always need to keep improving those creative areas. They're pretty stacked in midfield, got some really good midfielders. Miley's a terrific young player.
They'll need to extra staffing because of the number of games that they will have to play because of the Champions League. The referee has just fouled Bakari Samare, and I think he's going to give a drop ball. Do you reckon he could yellow card himself there?
No, that would create that would need banter. Refs are a bit like commentators, zero banter.
Oof, ouch. We had a good chat about my bad run earlier on. There's one on also. Does that not go down there? Does that not count? No?
You're what?
No,
bad
no.
runs.
See? Eh? Only 10 minutes to go, folks.
To be fair, there's some great banter from the referees. I remember years ago, you'd be surprised what comes out. Well, what used to happen is they give you some back, and it was good fun.
Corner for Leicester, deep towards the far post, punched away by Pope. Goes out towards the near side. And it's collected by Wilson, and he's now got the chance to escape from a left fullback position, but there isn't anybody really in front of him, and as a result very quickly loses the ball, and then Ricardo Pereira skips past two challenges, bursts into the box, tries to feed the ball into Vardy, hits the back of his ankles, comes back out to Pereira, then it's to him again. He's making himself a real nuisance after good work from Mavadidi. And now he continues to get down the outside and poke the ball towards Thomas. It goes out and away for a throw-in. There's a bit more life about Leicester going into the final 10 minutes.
Pereira was terrific there. Great energy, nice and brave. Gone past a couple of people, been nice and positive. Fans appreciated it. Yeah, Mark Holsey was great for that stuff. Back in the day, he would give it to you.
Roger Milford. Is that a bit before your time?
A little bit, yeah. I know I look old, but that's ridiculous.
Here it is.
Your banner's not bad, to be fair.
It's Buonanotte into Pereira, out towards the right side, looking to pick out Monga, who taps it into the path of Ndidi, tries to go around the outside. Dan Burn plays it against him, wins another corner. And Tonali's gone down over on the far side, claiming that he was fouled. The referee now going just to check on his prognosis. Kieran Trippier just pointing out how earlier on in the game Rob Jones blew after Buonanotte hurt his hand, so why on earth did he not stop the game there?
Ooh, yeah. Just to follow through from the sliding tackle from Mavadidi. He's not meant to get him, but it's caught him. You can see why he's struggling a little bit.
Well, the Leicester fans are booing, but I think genuinely does need a little bit of attention here, Sandro Tonali. And he's going to get it.
Well, just make a change. If you've still got a sub, make a change. Why leave him on?
Not a good time to be a Leicester fan. Leicester on course to take 21.5 points. That is pretty embarrassing, really. The fewest of any Premier League team that has survived was Nottingham Forest's 32 last season. That is miles off any sort of attempt at keeping yourself above the line. They've conceded 70 Premier League goals this season. Only Southampton have conceded more this season. They haven't kept a clean sheet in now 24 Premier League games since their only Premier League clean sheet of the entire campaign, a 1-0 win over Bournemouth on October the 5th. It's the longest run of any team without a Premier League clean sheet since Wolves 14 and a half years ago.
Sorry, we're just seeing the replay of that tackle again.
It's a little bit naughty, that, wasn't it? I'm a little bit surprised that the referee didn't spot it first time.
It didn't look that much in real time, to be honest.
This assistant on the far side was standing on the halfway line. He's within 20 yards of it. Certainly, he's just hobbling away now, Sandro Tonali. Maybe they've made the subs. I didn't keep count. I think you probably
Wilson,
Asula, Longstaff, Miley. They're the ones so far.
So he's got one more. Although he's got 2 goalies on the bench. I never understand that.
I think it's to fill the bench, really.
Why not put a young lad?
They always bring 3.
Well,
they have got 2 young lads on the bench.
We'll put another one.
You can ask him afterwards if you want.
If you wouldn't mind.
Wilson chasing back. Oh, it's a poor ball by Pereira, but he's lucky that Hermansen read it and came out towards the right-hand side and just about got there in place of Wilson. If that had been Isaac, he would have been in deadly trouble. So he would have run onto that in a flash. Don't think Wilson's quite got that same level of pace anymore. And the ball goes eventually back to Pope away to our right. 3-0 to Newcastle United. Another batch of Leicester supporters have had enough and they're about to just tumble down the stairwells and out into the car park behind us and beyond. Ball won in by Tonali. He's just hobbling a little bit. I just wonder whether or not it might be prudent to make that change. Now warming up target Kraft down in front of us away to our left. Here is Fabian Schär. Take the free kick just short of the halfway line.
He'll be really disappointed that shot didn't go in the first half from inside his own half, you know. Because if you score one from inside your own half, not that I ever did in a professional game, but
legendary.
Well, it just stays for years and years. People get to see it, don't they?
They're going to be showing it forever. It's going to be on Match of the Day every single week forever. Probably be in the title sequence next year.
Well, it won't.
See it over and over again. Oh, no.
I mean, if it had,
we're talking about if it did.
Okay, all right. Calm down. I know you're tired.
It's Wilson over on the far side, trying to bring the ball down, cut out by Cody and cleared away. And it's further cleared by Hermansen up towards the halfway line, and Schär heads it forward. Big, powerful header. Pereira gives it straight back to Longstaff, and Asula takes over, runs it fast, tries to skip past him. Miley, I don't really think that was a foul, but the referee was generous anyway. Gave it for Leicester, and they have a free kick just in front of their box. Did you ever score a goal that got onto the title sequence and Match of the Day? I mean, you don't really need to be on the title sequence, you're on the settee every single week.
I scored some goals that should have been on. No, I don't know. It's funny, the first time you ever have a proper run done on your own Match of the Day, it's quite an achievement. You feel a bit like you've made it, yeah. You know, when one of the pundits, when you're playing, I think it might have been Alan Hansen, did one on me once. I was like, yes,
buzzing. See, that's the effect that you now have on others. Off comes Trippier, on comes Kraft for the final few moments. So it looks like Tonali's going to play the full 90. And Trippier's just walking around now. Who wants the captain's armband? Who's next on the list? Oh, it's Dan Burn. Let's give it to him. He does. Kieran Trippier standing next to Dan Burn. Always has a sort of feeling of Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger from the Twins movie. Kraft comes on at right back for the final 3.5 minutes of the game. I mean, Leicester fans, I was listening to a couple of them talk before the game, and they were sort of debating whether or not this team, I mean, in their history, they usually sort of refer back to the Peter Taylor team, I don't know if you remember it, as their worst team in the Premier League. I mean, this team, it's worse than that, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. No, yeah, it is.
Here is Luke Thomas back towards the edge of his own penalty area. It's Cody back to Fass, into Ndidi, tucking it down towards the near side. Yeah, they are about to match the longest run of successive defeats without scoring in the English top flight, which was initially set by Sunderland in 76-77 and Crystal Palace in 2017, but it's the first time that anyone has ever lost 8 home games and failed to score.
That's really
in Football
bad.
League history.
That's really bad. Really disappointing start that is, for so many reasons.
Here is Barnes down the right-hand side, jinking into the box, trying to set up Longstaff. Luke Thomas just about sorts his feet out to stop it and clear it away towards the far side. Newcastle looking to finish with a flourish. They lead by 3-0. The sports bar open for business for disgruntled Leicester City fans. 03717 223344. And for joyous Newcastle supporters, what do you make of what you've seen tonight? 03717 2233 4. That's the number to call. The sports bar with Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara.
No, Jamie O'Hara's away.
Is he?
Yeah, well, I saw him on his Instagram. He's on a plane, so he's not doing the show tonight. Yeah, again, yeah.
I didn't think that was possible. He can't be on away again.
He is.
He's only just been away getting engaged, isn't he?
Well, I'm Joe Shoot the messenger.
Okay. Fair enough. It's Darren Ambrose and Jason.
There you go.
There you go.
Told you.
Ball thrown in over on the far side. Into Barnes. Deflection off Buonanotte. I can't believe you were stalking Jamie O'Hara's Instagram.
I don't stalk it. I check my Instagram occasionally, and the videos at the top are their people's stories.
Okay. Leicester will now have lost 16 of their last 18 matches in all competitions.
I need to check up on you where you're at each day. Whether it's paddle, gym, running, spa, Turkish sauna.
Usually a football match, actually.
Yeah, as well as, yeah.
Here is Fash trying to nudge it towards the near touch line. It's collected by Monga. Monga trying to outrun Livramento. Livramento does brilliantly. Didn't quite keep it in when he thought he had. It goes out for a throw-in on the near side. He had delayed the restart. Ricardo Pereira says, by the rules that you set at the beginning of the season, that should be a yellow card, referee.
Yes, it should.
There's going to be 5 additional minutes. I'm sure Leicester are absolutely delighted by that. Tonali penalised by pushing the back.
I know you can't do it anymore, but I said this to somebody, I don't know if we were talking about it a while back, but you're 3-0 down, 4-0 down, whatever, or 4-0 up. The other team don't, you want the whistle. Back in the day, you say to ref, call it a day. He might say there's 4, 5, 11, you go, call it a day, and it just blow up.
Yeah, I think they were talking about the possibility of a mercy rule for a certain scoreline. I can't remember where it was, but in order to do as you've just said. But 3-0, you never know.
No, that's true.
Here is Ndidi. They've just won a corner on this near touchline. It's popped off Byrne and gone away. And out for a corner kick on this near side, which will be taken by Buonanotte. Pressure ramping up on Ruud van Nistelrooy, who has a few more grey hairs than he did when he first walked in the door. Here is Buonanotte's corner.
You can tell him what to use today.
Left-footed in towards the near post, and Bass is there, guiding the ball towards the far post, and it's only just narrowly wide.
Good ball in, good header. Unlucky.
It was a brilliant ball in, and it was a really good header actually, because he got across his marker brilliantly, and he got up well, and he just sort of nudged the ball towards the far stick. It was only a yard or so wide from Wout Faes. He hasn't had the best of seasons. He celebrated his 27th birthday last Thursday, but he is not the one who's taking the plaudits tonight. Newcastle's first half display, which was gifted to them really by poor and shambolic Leicester defending. It's in the order of the day. Jacob Murphy with 2 goals before half-time, and another goal from Harvey Barnes meant that Newcastle were in an unassailable position before the game had really even got going.
They were clinical though, weren't they? They were given opportunities, but they were clinical.
They were. And they've given an opportunity for Buonanotte here to strike with the edge of the box, but Leicester never really ruthless. Certainly clinical doesn't apply to them. And it's scooted about 8 yards wide of the goal away to our right-hand side, and it's out for a goal kick. We're into the third of 5 added minutes at the end of the first half. Tomorrow night round the grounds of Adrian Durham, Arsenal against Real Madrid will be one of the games on which we focus. Big game in the Championship is live on TalkSport 2. Wednesday night we've got live commentary of Villa. Thursday night the Europa League and Europa Conference League quarter-finals are all live on TalkSport involving the English clubs. And then at the weekend the Premier League returns. Here is Buonanotte. Ball pinched by Tonali, away by Livramento. Cody stabs it clear, but only as far as Barnes, who's now running at the defence. He's got Osula to his left and Wilson to his right. It's Wilson who gets it. Low ball into Barnes. It popped up just in front of him and hit his shin and then ricocheted behind. I don't know if it took a deflection on the way through to Barnes or whether it was just an unclean finish, but I think Fass may have got something on it.
It was good from Barnes again. He's been good tonight. Give the ball, get himself in good areas. I like that. Even whenever he plays left or right, he does find himself in good central positions really often. Wants to get in there and score a goal, and the numbers you gave earlier obviously confirm that. He really is an impact player. I mean, he impacts games.
This is going to be an 11th win in 15 Premier League games for Newcastle United, a record that is actually as good as, in terms of victories, Liverpool, and in fact in terms of points it's even better, I think, and it's one that's going to fire them into the Champions League places, up into fifth position tonight behind Chelsea, but with a game in hand, and a game in hand over Manchester City, who they leapfrog tonight, taking advantage of the City slip. And it's going to be a good end to the season for Newcastle if they can maintain that form.
Well, they've got two home games coming up, haven't they?
They have.
And you always fancy them there.
They've got Manchester United at home on Sunday, and you would expect them to have more firepower than Manchester United, the way that United are playing at the moment. Crystal Palace at home as well. That'd be a difficult game, a different type of game. Palace are very good away from home.
Both play the same system though.
Yeah, Aston Villa away. Be interesting. Be a good game that. Here's Osula bounding forward, running into traffic, losing the ball. Monga picks it up as they look to turn over and go on the attack. He's surrounded by white jerseys. He comes infield, lays it off well into Buonanotte. Tonali pinches it from Buonanotte, and it's with Newcastle as we approach the final 30 seconds of the game. Ball poked out towards the right hand side. Low ball through the 6-yard box by Emil Kraft. It goes scything through that 6-yard box, and then it was just left by everyone, but Osula noticed it hadn't gone out of play, so they continue Newcastle with Miley. Back to Livramento. Centrally is Tonali, encouraged to shoot, goes past the defender, gets to the edge of the D, does shoot, tried to place it into the corner actually, and he ended up missing the target by about a yard.
I'm only shouting shoot because I just wanted to see his technique's so good when he shoots. All over.
It is. It's all over for Leicester, that's for sure. Newcastle are giving themselves a fantastic chance of qualifying for next season's Champions League. The Carabao Cup winners are the latest team to swat aside a limp Leicester City. The Foxes can't score a goal, so winning a game and staying in this division is going to be a stretch. It's going to be an impossible task. Newcastle, though, are flying. What a time they have had since they lost to Brentford in December. Leicester weren't salvageable before tonight, but after tonight they are probably sunk. 2 goals from Murphy, 1 from former Fox Harvey Barnes. Leicester 0, Newcastle 3.